Trail is how lights follow each other through an effect, and it's represented as a percentage of the cycle time. The default is even, meaning that all lights are evenly distributed throughout the entire cycle time of the effect. This can be illustrated quite easily if we were to take a group of movers and point them at the center of our back cyc, and then use the focus effect that we built earlier, our circle effect. We can see that they are running in a perfect circle, and they are running evenly distributed around the cyc. This is because our trail is set to even, which it means that each of these lights gets mathematically divided time-wise and is running around this circle in an even distribution. If I change this trail, we can watch how this is different. So let's go to the extreme. We have even and then we have solo. Solo means each light is going to run through the entire effect before the next light goes. So if I change this to solo, we'll see that the first light goes all the way around the circle before the next light begins its journey. Changing this to 50% means that one light is going to get halfway around the circle before the next one begins. We change our trail to 30%, it's going to roughly break this out into thirds. So as one light gets a third of the way around the circle, the next one is going to go, and so on and so forth. And then if we change it to something like 80%, kind of get that neat little pool ball effect. We're going around, we kind of clock the next one, and it runs all the way around. Now, this is very easy to see and illustrate in focus effects, but it is applicable to all different types of effects. So it's how far through possibly a dim cycle is one fixture before the next one begins. So let's look at it in some other types of effects. Stop this effect, clear our stage. And we're going to once again use our magic blades that are around the perimeter of our stage here. I'm going to create a new effect, A15. And I am just going to create an effect that goes from 100 to 0. For illustrative purposes, I'm going to change this to what I would call a square wave effect, where the dwells, in this case, are 1 second and the time is 0. So there's no fade on either end. It's just very blocky. If we run this effect on the pixels, we see that we get this even distribution between light and dark, because there are two steps, half of it being light, half of it being dark. So at any given time, half of this rig is going to be light and half of it's going to be dark. As we change our trail, watch how this changes. So if we change our trail to 30%, you'll notice that it slows down and it gets very small because each of these pixels is referencing that trail. So one pixel is 30% of the way through that full cycle time before the next pixel goes. As we increase our trail in percentage, the smaller the band is going to appear because it is waiting for more of that effect to complete. So for example, if we change it to 50%, it will actually only be one pixel at a time because one pixel goes light, and then as it hits the dark step, the next pixel begins its travel into the light step. So we can use these to affect the size of our effects as it rolls around the perimeter of the rig here. So if I change this to 10%, I'm going to decrease the cycle time here so it moves a little faster. Notice we have this little band. And as I make this trail smaller, the appearance of this snake, if you will, is going to get larger because each light is waiting for less and less time to begin its journey through this effect. So here I have these tiles, 100 through 200. I can actually type anything between 0 and 200 in here and have it work. So if I want to, for example, make the snake twice as long, I'll type in 05. And now twice as many lights are going to be on as were on previously. If I want to make it even longer, I'm going to make it 01%. So we can only go down to 1%, but the console, when it uses an even distribution, will mathematically do the math to make sure that there's an even distribution amongst all of the lights in the rig here. Now, of course, there is a direct correlation between trail and cycle time because trail is a percentage of cycle time. So as we decrease the cycle time, we are affecting our trail. So as our cycle time gets less and less, it's running faster because they're starting to pile up. As our trail gets more, it's going to appear to slow down because each light is waiting a little longer before it starts going. So that's why if I set this to somewhere where I like it like this, I really like that kind of chase. If I decide I want to make that twice as big, I'm also going to need to make it twice as slow, essentially. So if I change this trail to 20, you're going to see it's going to move twice as fast. So I need to make the cycle time slower to compensate for that.